The first step to solving these radical equations is to get the radical by itself on one side of the equation. So that's what we have here. We have 1 square root on one side. So we are going to do the opposite of square rooting, which is squaring. So we're going to take both sides and square them. So we'll square this side and we'll square this side. So we've got x squared equals, and since squaring is the opposite of square root, those will go away and it'll just becomes equals 6x minus 5. So now we have a quadratic equation to solve. So let's go ahead and get everything on one side and then 0 on the other side. So let's subtract 6x on both sides. So we have x squared minus 6x equals negative 5. We still want to get 0 on this right side. So we'll add 5 to both sides. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. And in order to solve this, we now factor. So I'm going to come up here and say, okay, well, since a is 1, our number in front of x squared is 1, we need two numbers that multiply to be a positive 5 that add to be a negative 6. And those two numbers will be a negative 1 and a negative 5, because negative 1 times negative 5 gives us this positive 5, and then negative 1 plus negative 5 gives us this negative 6. So now we need to solve. So if this equals 0, we say x minus 1 equals 0, x minus 5 equals 0, and we're going to solve, add 1 on both sides. We get x equals 1, add 5 on both sides, we get x equals 5. So our two answers are 1 and 5. And it's always a good idea to go back and check with our original problem. So our original problem was x equals the square root of 6x minus 5. So if we plug in this 1, we would have 1 equals the square root of 6 times 1, which is 6 minus 5. 6 minus 5 is equal to 1. Is 1 equal to the square root of 1? Yes, it is. So now let's check this 5. So we plug 5 in. So we say 5 equals the square root of 6 times 5 minus 5. So I just took my 5 and I substituted it in my equation for x. So if I simplify this square root, I've got 6 times 5, which is 30, minus 5, which is 25. So now I see if this is a true statement. Is 5 equal to the square root of 25? Yes, it is. So that means we have two answers. We've got a 1 and we've got a 5.